NAFDAC and Your Health is back as usual to give you information on the activities of NAFDAC, the agency that is saddled with the responsibility of safeguarding your health and also educates you on how to sustain your well-being by patronizing only wholesome food products, drugs, cosmetics, and medical equipment. My name is Amanda Ugo, and I am your host. On today's edition of NAFDAC and Your Health, we begin by focusing on the significance of water to the survival and healthy living of man, how NAFDAC is ensuring that wholesome packaged water is made available to the public, efforts being made to educate the producers of packaged water, and the sensitization of the public on ways to determine the wholesomeness of the water they drink. Then on the second segment, we'll be looking at how NAFDAC is building formidable partnerships with relevant stakeholders, narrowing this down to the lecture delivered by the DG of NAFDAC at the National Institute of Security Studies recently. The importance of water cannot be overemphasized, and this is why NAFDAC puts so much premium on the quality of water being packaged for public consumption in Nigeria. The enormous importance of water to the survival of man is the reason NAFDAC, as an agency charged with the responsibility of safeguarding the health of the nation, employs every strategy possible to ensure that packaged water made available to the public for drinking is wholesome water.
Without water, nobody can survive. Without water, nobody can live. Children get dehydrated, adults get dehydrated. Sometimes dehydration, extreme dehydration can cause heart to fail, extreme dehydration, because there will not be enough water or liquid to pump through all the vessels, and sometimes the walls may collapse inside.
The agency begins by educating the public on the significance of water, the reason they have to ensure that the water they take is wholesome, and ways through which they can avoid unwholesome water, not leaving out the risks involved in taking unwholesome water.
In terms of water and disease, sometimes we cause disease to be on ourselves unintentionally, not knowing. If I'm fasting, personally, I take water because I know my body. There are some people that can fast without water. There's nothing wrong with that. But once you break the fast, you must take liquid, and it shouldn't be excessive fast. Because if the kidney is denied of water to wash out dirt, the kidney will retain the dirt. And the dirt may cause kidney failure. Because I mentioned something like this a while ago, and somebody said, the DG NAFDAC said fasting is not good. Though. Fasting is good. In fact, fasting is a good thing for the body. There is something what you call apoptosis, cell death. It is a renewal of cells in the body. And during fasting, such things happen, cell death, that will lead to renewal of the cells, but not excessive fast, not fasting forever without water. The body will be damaged, and God will not be blamed. So, in terms of water and health, extremely important. Many, many years ago, I take less water. And it's not because I'm fasting or something. Just, too busy, I just take a sip of... No. Make sure you take at least 3 bottles of water. Maybe 1 liter or to half a liter bottle. But make sure you take water every time. Don't take a sip. Because water is important for nerve conduction. And I became ill because I was taking less water. So I learned my lessons because I went to the books. And I said dehydration can lead to this, dehydration can lead to that. Dehydration can cause headaches. If you don't take a lot of water, you will have a headache. Because all these things, God has put them there to work very well. 70% of our body is supposed to be water. So if we deny it and drop it to 50, the body will not function very well. So water is extremely important.
All these are the reasons NAFDAC goes all out to monitor water packaging companies to ensure that the necessary hygiene practices are followed in the process of packaging water for public consumption.
In terms of what NAFDAC does to ensure water access, we have a lot of manufacturers, MSMEs, big manufacturers that make water, and we test dutifully the waters, inspect, take samples, take to the lab to test. During the pandemic, we could not go out for about a year plus, but I was actually quite impressed with the food safety and applied nutrition, because they even did remote inspection. But it's not the same thing. We were able to do some remote inspection in bigger facilities, but in smaller facilities, people doing things, we couldn't. So people relaxed. So after the pandemic, we had to double up in terms of our inspection, intelligence. I was getting intelligence almost every other day shortly after the pandemic, and we go after them, shut them down. If they can follow, take care of our corrective actions, we open them up later. But if not, we shut them down permanently. So water is extremely important.
The Food Safety and Applied Nutrition Directorate of the agency has over time raided water production sites around the country that have been suspected to be packaging water for public consumption with poor manufacturing practice.
In Lagos here, particularly meanwhile, we covered most of the local government in the course of our production inspection activities and then routine inspection. And of recent, in our going out, we have observed, apart from some that were satisfactory, a lot of lapses. And those lapses, non-conformances we saw, we observed in the course of these routine inspections, poor hygienic practice, like poor housekeeping. Usually you go to a factory unannounced, and you will observe algae grow, maybe greenish, something on the particles on the walls, on the ground, blocking ties, workers producing with bare, maybe unclothed, ungowned, bare chest. See, products that are finished goods, finished products on bare ground, not palleted. We have instances that we have observed also domestic animals within the production premises, which is not allowed. We have also observed in the course of time that when we did the production inspection for those facilities, the facilities were demarcated into cloakroom, production areas, raw packaged material section. But when we go back on routine, we have observed even they have turned the facility into a residential area. You see staff sleeping in the cloakroom, putting bed, can bed, and other things sleeping there, which is contrary to our guidelines before we issue those numbers. Because the purpose of the UV is not being done at that period. Or some even storing their packaging materials without UV light. And some also storing even their packaging material on bare floor, not palleted. And a lot of them also, the modules not being charged as when due. It is expected in the guideline from time to time. Maybe you will see some filtration, all these things, very greenish and blackish, and people have been using it over time. And you say, so what's the record of what we have done over the time? Maybe for the past 2 or 3 months or 4 months, nobody have changed any of those things and no record for it. So this is contrary to what we met before the numbers were issued. And over time also, majority of people that are producing, after having gotten their number, to come forward and renew their licenses, the licenses are expired, because there are guidelines, and most of the things we give them within 2 years for packaged water and 5 years or by bottled water. Within those periods, it's expected that apart from their in-house general good manufacturing practice, that this will, along from time to time, be on their toes, being the owner of the process. We are expected to go back from time to time, apart from the routine. But once they get the number, they go to sleep. And NAFDAC cannot be everywhere. So we are appealing to the public, and as well as we are emphasizing on doing our own, that there should be whistleblowers. See somebody not in that. And also we have observed, you go to a facility, maybe a vehicle that are used in conveying the water or conveying the raw materials, somebody has used the vehicle to go and buy diesel, and when he comes back without doing the proper needful cleaning or whatever, disinfectant, in fact, such vehicles should not be used in conveying either the packaging material or even the finished product, the water, started water usage for consumption. But this is the case that people do it. And particularly, again, from time to time, it is expected that their areas will be fumigated. We have observed, you see their record, they don't fumigate the premises. And this allows cockroaches, insect infested area. And even you will go to some places and you will see that the doors to their production area, maybe if they put a net before, the net is turned very black, unpainted for years or for months now. Nobody has bothered in trying to maybe put it in order. So we have observed that over time in the course of this work, and this is alarming, getting out of hand. That's why we have intensified our effort in going to the local government. We just focus on some areas of Lagos now. We have on our toes now, going up and down to make sure all these things that they are doing, that it is put in the board to stop this, because the public, the confidence that when somebody pick a water and you see NAFDAC number on it, the confidence is that this the product is registered, and with that logo, with that confidence, they go ahead to consume it.
As NAFDAC carries out its enforcement activities and raids, the agency does not cease to engage the water packaging companies in interactions to sensitize and educate them on the need to adhere to good hygiene and manufacturing practices. This is done through their Association of Table Water Producers of Nigeria. NAFDAC and Your Health will be back after the short break. Please stay with us.
NAFDAC has observed the dangerous practice of ripening of fruits with carbide, despite persistent NAFDAC campaign against it. To this end, NAFDAC hereby informs the general public to note the following: that calcium carbide is an explosive chemical. It changes the skin color of the fruit whilst the fruit remains raw. Calcium carbide also causes diarrhea, ulcer on the skin, mouth, and throat, burning sensation in the chest and abdomen, neurological system disorder, dizziness, memory loss, low blood pressure, cerebral edema, kidney and liver diseases. NAFDAC therefore advises the general public to desist from the use of these dangerous chemicals but allow fruits to ripen naturally on the plant. However, if fruits must be ripened artificially, NAFDAC has provided 3 easy and safe ways of ripening fruits. 1. Collect your fruits and put into a paper bag. Seal it and wait for a few days. 2. Apple and banana peels can be added to the fruit to help it ripe faster. 3. Direct exposure to sunlight facilitates ripening of fruits. This message is from the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Welcome back. You are still watching NAFDAC and Your Health. In its fight against substandard and fake drugs, particularly the inflow of these life-threatening products into the country from across the globe, NAFDAC has always displayed its readiness to work in tandem with other concerned ministries, departments, and parastatals of the government. It will be recalled that the Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, was recently at the headquarters of the National Counter-Terrorism Center in Abuja to further strengthen the agency's working partnership with the center and fashion out new strategies and modalities in the direction. In the same vein, the NAFDAC DG was recently at the National Institute of Security Studies to deliver a lecture. The invitation was in recognition of Professor Adeye's pedigree and wealth of experience, as well as the remarkable and unprecedented achievements she had recorded as Director General of NAFDAC. At the occasion, the NAFDAC DG, who was represented by the agency's Director of Investigation and Enforcement, Mr. Francis Ononiwu, delivered a lecture titled Globalization, Pharmaceutical Counterfeiting and Health Security Challenges. Ways forward for the West African sub-region.
The increase in supply chain disruption and infiltration as a result of increase in drug trade has led to the expansion of pharmaceutical counterfeiting. In Nigeria, the situation was made worse by removing NAFDAC from the ports and borders between the years 2011 to 2018. The country during this period became a haven for SF, that's substandard and falsified medicines, counterfeits, narcotics, and psychotropic drugs. SF medicine, that's substandard and falsified medicines, are a global public health menace, causing death, disability, and injury. It is an important cause of unnecessary morbidity, mortality, and loss of public confidence in medicine's health structures, according to Cockburn et al., 2005. The problem of SF medicine is severe in sub-Saharan Africa, as most of the available literature indicated that a vast majority of fake pharmaceuticals in the region are imported, particularly from China and India, UNODC 2009. Past and recent incidences have indicated numerous health risks and quality of care and patient safety associated with SF medicines, ranging from therapeutic failure, toxicity, hospitalization, and death. Nigeria can be said to be the fulcrum of activities in the pharmaceutical business in the sub-region, in the sub-Saharan Africa, because we know that most of the drugs that come into Nigeria or that are produced in Nigeria find their way into the West African sub-regions and at times beyond. There is therefore need for NAFDAC to lead the fight against proliferation of SF medicines in Nigeria. In Nigeria, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, established by Act of Parliament, Act Cap N1, Law of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 as amended, has the mandate to regulate and control the manufacture, importation, exportation, distribution, advertisement, sale, and use of regulated products.
The DG also highlighted the mechanisms put in place to curb the menace of importing substandard and fake drugs and other regulated products into Nigeria.
The agency has put in place, adding to the regulatory and administrative mechanisms to tackle the menace of SF medicines. The mechanisms employed include the following. The first one is the 5+5 policy, which is aimed at migration of previously imported products that can be manufactured in Nigeria, to migrate them to local manufacturing after 2 rounds of registration. That means companies that import drugs that can be manufactured in Nigeria have to, at the end of the day, given time frame to migrate to producing them locally. The blueprint for migration to local manufacturing and partnership with existing local manufacturers through contract manufacturing must commence by the end of the 3rd year of the last renewal. The essence of this policy is to provide the agency a strong foothold for enhancing local regulatory oversight, aimed at improving access to medicines that meet the requirements for quality, safety, and efficacy. It is a veritable means of curbing influx of SF medicines into the country. This intervention is to reduce importation of medicines that can be manufactured locally, thereby stimulating utilization of idle capacity of local manufacturers of essential medicines.
The National Institute of Security Studies expressed deep appreciation to the DG for the enlightening and expository lecture.
On behalf of the Common National Institute for Security Studies, IBS Adeleke, Professor Idaga, MNI, the Director of Studies, esteemed faculty members, distinguished course participants, and the entire NISS community wish to express our gratitude for a lecture well delivered, and hope that when next the Institute invite you, we also allow you with a wealth of experience. Thank you for coming, and wish you something.
National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, on Thursday, 1st of September 2023, was at the National Youth Service Corps Orientation Camp in Ipaja, Lagos, to educate the fresh graduates currently undergoing the compulsory orientation course that begins their year-long youth service. The purpose was to intimate the youth on the significance of the agency's activities to the Nigerian populace. Speaking at the occasion, NAFDAC's Deputy Director of Public Affairs, Mrs. Christiana Obiazekwo, explained the importance of NAFDAC registration number on all NAFDAC's regulated products. This, according to the Deputy Director, is to let the prospective manufacturers and importers among the corps members know the proper procedure.
There's a seal of approval for you to now go ahead and manufacture or import the product. Without doing that, you package any product, be it water, food, drugs, even granules, if you package it, anything processed without that registration number, it is against the law. That is why we're here today. We know we have young entrepreneurs here that want, to manufacture products or want to go into importation, so that we ensure that you come forward and get your products registered, or the right procedure, the process to go about it.
Mrs. Christiana Obiazekwo also spoke to the corps members about good manufacturing practice and, of course, how NAFDAC encourages small-scale enterprises and ways the corps members could go about this. She rounded off by explaining to the corps members ways through which they could identify fake products, imploring them to join NAFDAC in the fight against fake products by reporting suspected fake and counterfeited products to the agency.
That has been our package on this edition of the program. We hope it was very insightful. Join us again, same time, same station next week for another informative and insightful package. If you have questions, reports, or comments that would help NAFDAC in their efforts at safeguarding the health of the nation, please reach out to us.
You can reach NAFDAC via toll-free numbers. For inquiries, call 0700 162 3322. For complaints, call 0800 162 3322. You may also email NAFDAC at nafdac.gov.ng. If you have complaints about any form of misconduct, you can reach the Reforms Unit via email reforms@nafdac.gov.ng or call the Reforms hotlines on 0909 763 0506 or 0909 763 0507. NAFDAC, customer focused, agency minded.
Note: it is illegal to import, produce, distribute, market, or sell unwholesome food products, chemicals, cosmetics, and medical equipment. This act puts the health of the public in great danger. Join us to expose the perpetrators of this and eliminate the act. Till we meet again next week, stay safe.